Hello everyone, and welcome to my first ever video. So today I figured I would just do kind of an introduction video, just sort of show you guys what my channel is going to be all about, show you the facilities, and then introduce you to all of the horses. So before I start, I figured I should basically just give you guys kind of an overview of what our mission is. So my name is Alice. I am a 24-year-old who currently owns the Valedale Draft Rescue. Well, it's just called the Valedale Rescue, but we specialize in draft horses. Our mission is to show the world that just because draft horses can't maybe jump as high or be quite as fancy or do any of those things, that they still deserve the amount of attention that normal horses receive. And our goal is to show people what kind of fun things that they can do with them, and basically just show them the beauty of these gentle giants. We take in rescues from all over Jorvik, and we've even had a few rescues come from abroad. We are also currently running lessons, we do trail rides, we do field trips, we do therapy rides, you name it, we've done it. So anyways, I think we should start with a little tour of the facility. So we're going to start in the barn/stables. So this is where riders will get their horses ready for lessons, where we bring in horses for grooming and feeding and all of that other stuff. These stables are open to the outdoors, so they do get a little bit chilly during the winter, but we make sure that we have the heating on so that we can stay nice and warm. And luckily enough, we have one of our beauties sitting here in the barn. So this is Cora. She is a 13-year-old Ardennes. I think we've had her for about, just over a year now. And Cora is seriously one of the sweetest mares ever. She's pretty sassy out in the field. She's definitely top of her herd, but she's super sweet to all of the kids. Her main role is doing lessons and therapy rides, because if there was such thing as a bond-proof horse, that would be her. She has absolutely no vices other than being pretty slow and slightly stubborn at times. She's also very sleepy on the ground. She's just really gentle all around, so she's perfect for therapy rides, and she does pretty well in lessons, but she's definitely not super athletic, so she kind of stops after she's taught her riders how to walk, trot, canter, because any further than that and it's kind of pushing her athletic abilities. Next up, I think we're going to head over to the arena, so let's go. So this is our outdoor arena. We only have one arena at the moment, but we are planning on getting an indoor. So in the arena, we do lots of things like lessons, therapy rides, training, liberty, clinics, demos, lots of different things. So this arena is definitely very well loved. Yeah, it even functions during the winter since we don't get a ton of snow in the Valedale area. And luckily enough, I've just finished up a session with my main man, Mr. Rolly. Rolly is named after one of the 101 Dalmatians, because I think he kind of resembles him. I think it's really cute. So Rolly was the first draft and the first horse who I ever owned. He was basically just dumped at our barn for no apparent reason, and I decided to take him in and realized just how clever he was, and here we are. So Rolly is my main man. I take him to all of the clinics and all of the demos. He's only 4 years old, so his riding career he started it. We've done like walking and trotting, but I haven't done a lot of canter work with him yet. I'm probably going to leave that till he's around 5 or 6 years old, just because I want him to have the chance to develop a little bit more. Rolly is really essential for our lesson program, but not as much for riding because he's so young. I mainly just use him for teaching kids how to do liberty, groundwork, lunging. He's really good at doing all of that kind of stuff. He's very smart and very clever and very food motivated, so he knows a lot of tricks. I take him everywhere. I take him to do demos all over Jorvik, and we've even flown abroad once. So he's a pretty special boy. Next up, I thought that I would mention the trails that we have around Valedale. So we have lots of trails, some that even go through water, lots of hills, and all of that other stuff. And these trails are accessible to the public, and we do include trail rides in our lessons. Next up is the pastures. So we are lucky enough to have a lot of space to keep our horses, and all of our horses live outside 24/7 unless they're coming inside for a lesson or training or getting feed or anything like that. This is kind of where I'm going to do the introduction of all the different horses, because all the rest of the horses are out in the pasture. So I'm just going to quickly introduce them all to you. So in this pasture, we have Miss Pumpkin, aka Pumpkin Spice. Pumpkin is a 7-year-old Shire mare who I rescued probably 3 years ago. Pumpkin is the sweetest mare I've ever met. She is not stubborn, she's not sassy, she's just super agreeable about everything. If there was such thing as a push-button horse, that would be her. I mostly use her for lessons to help give riders confidence, because she really is a quote-unquote easy ride. She's a little bit bumpy, she's a pretty big horse, but once you get past that, she has the sweetest personality ever. She does do a little bit of liberty and clinics and demos and stuff. She kind of does a bit of everything. She's definitely one of my favorite horses to work with. Next up is Belle. So Belle is currently braided because she's actually heading off to a dressage show soon. Belle is probably our fanciest horse here. She knows all the moves. She knows her lead changes, her leg yields, side passes, everything, you name it, she's got it. Belle is pretty sassy, so she can have some opinions sometimes, but once you get past her opinionated personality, she has a lot to offer. She's very athletic for a draft horse, and she is just really, she's very fancy. She knows what she's doing. Belle is 10 years old now, I think, and she's been with us for 6 months now. She was just surrendered to us by a girl who's going to college and just couldn't find a suitable home for her horse, and so she just wanted her to go somewhere where she knew that she was still going to be loved. Belle mainly does intermediate to advanced lessons, simply because she can kind of push around the little more beginner students. And she's one of the horses that we take to almost every single show that we go to. That's definitely her environment. She knows she's pretty, and she just likes to kind of show it off to everyone, so she's in her element when she's at shows. Next up is the other horse who came with Belle. This is Ash. So Ash is, I think she's 15 years old now. So Ash was once again given to us by this college student, but she was actually a rescue who she rescued herself. Ash is very sensitive. She's very shy. She's definitely not one to come in up to you when you come into the pasture. I think we don't know a lot about her past, but we don't think that it was very good to her, so she's pretty skittish and spooky at times. So she doesn't do any kind of lessons at all. I've just been working with her on my own. I do plan on trying to find her a suitable home soon that can just help her along in her journey and give her a little bit more dedicated time, because we have 12 horses here and we're constantly adding more horses, and there's a lesson program, field trips, lots of other things. So I want to make sure that Ash has all of the time that she deserves, and I think she just deserves to have one human. I don't think that she can cope very well with having just the busy environment, I guess. Ash has really been coming along in her training. She can walk, trot, canter. The groundwork is a little bit more what we're working on right now, just getting her to trust me a little bit more. So the plan is, I think, to kind of keep her over the winter and then try to see if there's anyone fitting for her in the spring, but obviously I will keep her until the perfect home arises. Anyway, so that is the mayor's pasture. Now we're going to go to the next pasture.
Bunny. Oh, good boy. You're so smart.
So this is Coconut. Coconut is the oldest horse on our property. I think, yeah, he's 22 years old now. And you might be thinking that that's actually not too old, but for big draft horses, unfortunately, there's just a lot of strain on their joints, and so they're really prone to have arthritis and other things that do unfortunately shorten their life. So Coconut does have arthritis, but it's managed with some different medications and different rehab things that we do with him. Coconut was surrendered to us by a lesson barn that was shut down because of bankruptcy. So Coconut is very sweet. He's one of the sweetest geldings. He just wants to be loved and cuddled. Coconut really only does therapy rides at the moment. He just does like walking therapy rides, grooming sessions with kids and adults. That's basically what he does. He will do the occasional walk trot lesson in our like mainstream lesson program, but he's really not cut out to be doing all of the things at the moment. He is regularly checked by our vet and he is sound, but we just don't want to kind of push or put any strain on his body that he's not already, like, that he doesn't have the free will to do, if that makes sense. So he's more than capable of cantering and galloping in the field, but we just don't want to push him into doing that if he's just not feeling it or anything like that. Once he kind of tells us that he's done with being worked at all, he will have a happy retirement in this pasture with his best friend. So this is Benny. He is 3 years old, so he is the youngest horse at the moment. Benny and Coconut are absolute best friends, and they're definitely the two quote-unquote sweet geldings. Like, they have that classic gelding personality. They're kind of goofy. They want to just, if you could just sit there and love on them the entire time, they would love that. Benny is similar to Rolly, except I have not ridden Benny at all because he's only 3 years old, so I don't plan on doing that for a little bit. But Benny is one of my main horses who I take to of my demos and clinics and stuff. He really enjoys doing Liberty, and he loves the attention from everyone. He travels basically all over Jorvik. He hasn't traveled abroad yet like Rolly, but I think we might end up doing that soon. Because Benny is younger, we don't do quite as much with him. We do try to keep it to a minimum, but he really enjoys going out and seeing everyone and doing all of the demos, the clinics, all of that fun stuff. Okay, now I'm gonna head off to the next pasture, which is our geldings pasture. That's the last pasture we have, so let's head over there. Alright, this is Rune. Rune is a 9-year-old gelding. I'm not really sure what his breeding is exactly. I think he's a Noric or cross with something. But anyways, Rune was given to us by a family who just had like a family farm and unfortunately just didn't have the means to take care of their horses anymore. So he was surrendered to us. Rune is very, very sweet. He has a very sweet personality. He can get a little bit quick at times, so he definitely needs a rider who is confident and not nervous, because if you are nervous, he'll start getting nervous. But honestly, it's not that bad. His version of nervous is just speeding up slightly in whatever pace he's in. He's definitely one of the favorites around the lesson barn because he's very athletic. He's willing to do fun things with you. He knows his changes, he knows his leg yields, and he's just really sweet. He has no vices other than getting slightly quick if he feels that his rider is nervous. So at the moment, Rune does shows, he's in the lesson program. He hasn't done any therapy rides just because he's a very good boy, but he hasn't done any yet just because I do think that when he's older, he'll probably settle into it a little bit more, but Rune definitely likes a job, walking around and not really doing very much. I think he would honestly get a little bit annoyed at that, so that's the only reason why he hasn't done any therapy rides yet.
Come here, Licorice. Oh, good boy. Come on, let's go. Oh, too tired, can't go any further. Oh, buddy. Okay, I'll come to you.
Next up is Licorice. So as you can see, Licorice is a very sleepy boy. I would say he's the slowest horse we have. Him and Cora came from the same situation, where they were basically just pasture pets. And so Licorice, he really just wants to sleep. If he could choose his hobby, it would just be sleeping and eating all day. But unfortunately for him, he does need to stay fit, so he does get ridden in lessons. The kids do like riding him, but he is a little bit too slow for some of the younger riders. They actually do have some trouble getting him going. He's just very steady. He's not going to go any faster than you're asking him to go, unless you're like very, 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 very sure that you want to go that fast. Licorice has done some therapy rides. He's really not spooky at all. He has gone to a few shows, just done some basic dressage with some riders. He really is a really good boy, but he's just very slow. He does things at his own pace. If he can have a rider who can kind of get him up and get him going, he's fantastic. He's also just great for giving kids some confidence because he's not naughty at all. His naughtiness is walking over poles. It's very dialed down. Next up is Mr. Bo. So Bo was just left on our doorstep one day. We have absolutely no idea his background, nothing. We're fairly sure he is a cob. We haven't gotten him DNA tested, but I think it's pretty safe to assume he is an Irish cob. Bo is very, very, very goofy, I guess is the best way to describe him. We do think that he has some slight brain damage possibly, because he's just very, very goofy. He's gone through a few fences and done a few different things, but he's so sweet. He doesn't mean any harm. He just sometimes kind of forgets about where his body is. We do not know Bo's age specifically. We think he's around the 11-year-old mark, possibly slightly younger. We currently basically just use him for lessons with some intermediate to advanced riders because he can be a bit on the ground. So sometimes we're actively working on it, but he's just right now not quite safe enough to have a very beginner rider on him or someone who's not super confident on the ground. Bo absolutely loves to jump. He's got a very big jump. Unfortunately for him, he was kind of born in the wrong body to be able to do that. So he does have his jumping limited, but he does do a little bit of it. This is Ringo. So Ringo is 5 years old now. He came with Rune. So Rune and Ringo, I kind of picked their names because both of them and Rolly just became best friends as soon as they arrived. So I figured we could have like the R trio. They're they're absolutely best friends. So anyways, Ringo he's very sweet. He has absolutely no vices, I would say. He has a few little moments. He has a few baby moments, so he's only ridden by advanced riders at the moment because he does have some baby moments under saddle. He's pretty good with liberty and stuff. He's definitely still learning that whole kind of side of things. Also very athletic, considering he is a draft horse. He hasn't jumped yet because he's too young, in my opinion, to be jumping. So he hasn't jumped yet, but he has done a few rides under saddle that have been like a little bit more like endurance-y, I guess, like where he's done more galloping, more cantering. He's actively learning his lead changes, and he's a very, very, very quick learner. So yeah, that's Ringo. Other than having a few little baby moments occasionally where he kind of forgets where his feet are or spooks at a butterfly, he's very, very sweet. He's just a little bit new to the riding world, so we're just kind of working through that and trying to teach him a little bit more about liberty, since he didn't really do any of that kind of stuff before he came to us. And here's Arthur. He is, I would say him and Pumpkin are probably tied for favorites among the lesson kids, because Arthur is very, very, very similar to Pumpkin, except just made into a gelding form. Arthur's 8 years old, so he's been around the block a few times, but he's also not too old. I do use Arthur for some liberty and demos and clinics and stuff. He's just really sweet. He's just your classic gelding. He has absolutely no vices, other than being kind of a food monster. But other than that, he's not behind your leg quite like Licorice and Cora, but he's also not per se ahead of your leg unless you want him to be. He really adapts to his rider. He also knows a few really fun tricks, which you guys will see later on. But yeah, Arthur travels with me quite a bit. He does lessons, he's done therapy rides, he does everything. Whenever I give a kid a chance to just pick who they're riding, they always pick either Arthur or Pumpkin. They're definitely two of the quote-unquote favorites. Anyway, so that concludes today's video. So please give me some suggestions in the comments about what kind of stuff you want to see. I'm planning on doing a few vlogs and stuff like that. Just kind of showing you what a day in the life looks like, and just different things like that. So yeah, please follow along, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!